A landmark moment for us was when Lutheran World Relief and other services were waking up, and they were helping bring refugees to the U.S. from the Vietnam area. That was an adventure that was wonderful and very fulfilling. We got them settled in schools, we got them with doctors, helped her get her driver's license and so on. They got jobs and they were doing well, and then they moved up and moved to a different house. He got a job in Sioux City at a packing plant, and they left. And I presumed that I'd never see them again. But in 2011, Steve got an email at work saying, "You don't remember me, but I want to tell you thank you for saving our lives." And to have my Hmong friends show up, it's like, I can't believe that happened. They're fine and they're successful and they're still going.
We decided to, our committee, adopt a family from South Africa through Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services. So it was a family of 4 that came from South Africa. Stanley, the father, was 34 at the time. His wife, Lucy, was 32. Lawazi, their son, was 10, and Amanda, their enthusiastic little daughter, was 7. But much of my time was spent integrating them, especially Stanley, because he needed to find a job. So I went with him to some of his early interviews, showed him how to use the bus, and I showed the whole family how to use the bus. Took them grocery shopping, took them to buy certain things. The transition is difficult and interesting to watch. So like any other family, they had their ups and downs and ins and outs, but he told me, "We are here because of you all," meaning those of us from Lord of Love. "If you and your church had not existed, I don't know if I would be here. Right now we are free. At that time, we were not free. Every time we look back, we see you behind us. It is important to forget the bad, but remember the good. The good will never destroy you. It will only encourage you."
It looks like at least 3,121 quilts have been made and sent to Lutheran World Relief. In more recent years, from 1994 to 2001, we have sent off at least 2,268 quilts. We've also given several quilts locally each year, some to the Sienna Francis House, to quilters' family members after funerals, to special helpers, to pastors who have left us, to retired quilters, to church auctions, and most recently to graduating high school seniors. So many times artists think that they're just doing things for themselves, and it's kind of a selfish thing, but this feels like a more of a giving and sharing sort of thing. These are going to people who will need them, and when we give the quilts to people here and to watch their faces light up, that's really gratifying and enjoyable.
I was sitting at home watching a local news channel in the evening, and they popped up and they were doing a bit on the local Habitat for Humanity, which has just got it started, and how they were building people. They come together, they volunteer their time, and they were building these homes. And the piece got done, and I immediately called Tom Olson, and I said, "Tom, we got to do this." And it didn't take long before we realized that, the problem Habitat is having is more the volunteers. So we got Lord of Love involved, and then we talked to Holy Cross, St. Elizabeth Ann. We had a huge calling group. And so what we would do is each week we would call down and find out what needed to be done this week and how many volunteers they needed. And they said essentially that we have all these projects. We can use volunteers, but not that many because we don't have the money to buy projects, to buy the building materials and so on and so forth. We got together, Tom Olson, Margaret Gilmore, and myself. Margaret Gilmore was the executive director at the time. We're down here at the Ground Cow Cafe, just kicking around ideas, and they were writing things down on a napkin. I remember that, pretty bizarre stuff, all the things you hear of. And essentially the coalition things got going because we talked about how we could get a group together who would basically adopt a house. In fact, our first coalition was with St. Elizabeth Ann, the ELF group, Ecumenical Labor Force. We were Coalition of the Year. We have a nice little hammer as a visual. It says on the handle, Lord of Love, Coalition of the Year. They got 2 different groups going to Biloxi, Thibodaux, Mississippi. Kids were involved. My daughter Krista and I went, and I know Jer and Doc and Andrew went, and things just kept building. The community involvement and all the little fingers that we send out. You know, back when we were doing the refugee settlements, we throw little fingers out here and there, and all those community builds. Some of the groups we form, I know our men's group has had guys leave, and they've gone and started their own men's group based on what they've seen at Lord of Love. So all those little components just build, and it's really about the family and the community that we have been able to keep established and continue to build. You know, I came here from Minnesota, and while I had a lot of friends through work and a lot of friends through here, really my whole family is Lord of Love. So.